Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Do we need to do a roll call?
No, we're good. It's just yourself and Ms. Virgo is here, so we've got a
Okay.
forum.
Okay.
Oh, and I'll go ahead and around the room as well. But first, we have the director, Aaron Mason. We have Brian Gash, assistant director, Susan Ray, chief of technology, Brian Gash.
It's okay.
Myself, Teresa Johnson. We also have a guest here, Mr. Mason, Mr. Donald Mason is here. So.
Lori, Donald Mason is related to me.
Oh, okay.
Actually, his dad is here.
It's my father.
Well, fun for Father's Day. That's a great
Yeah.
place to be.
Yes. Thank you for that.
All right. So, Brian, I will let you lead since I know that you have the agenda and kind of the things that you want to cover. So go ahead.
Okay, do we need to do
So
the,
do you approve the minutes first?
yeah, I was gonna say,
Well, let's approve the agenda first.
yeah.
I move to approve the agenda.
And I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, Teresa.
No, you're fine.
All
Motion carries.
right. Now, do we need to do the minutes from last time?
Yes.
I
All
move
right.
to approve the minutes.
All right. And I will second, and we will have all in favor.
Aye.
Yeah, all in favor? Aye. Okay. So our minutes have been approved.
Carries.
Okay, I guess we'll dive in. So thanks Joycelyn and Lori for being here. I really appreciate it. I know Lori, you had been asking kind of about an update on the website and how we manage it and take care of it. So that's kind of what we're going to do today, is kind of go over some of that. If that's okay.
Yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the things I do want to say is that we don't confuse the online catalog with the library website. The online catalog is something that we subscribe to. It's a service through BiblioCommons. It's not something that we developed. We just subscribe to that. BiblioCommons takes care of it and maintains it. So we're just going to talk about the primary MyMCPL website today. And Cody, if you could jump to the next slide. There's not a lot of information on these. I'm just going to talk about how we're kind of structured to take care of the website. So the primary website is managed by the library systems department here. They fall under me. And there's really primarily 4 staff members in that department that have day-to-day duties related to taking care of the website. And that's the library systems manager. And then he has 3 staff members under him. So we have a web developer, a primary web developer, and their primary duties is just to do front-end work and look and feel, navigation, all those sorts of things. And they also do a lot of Drupal updates, module updates, software updates, those types of things. That's primarily what the web developer does every day. They have a lot of other job duties also, but their primary responsibility is kind of the look and feel of the website, how people get to what they want. We have another person, a programmer analyst, another position. It's called a programmer analyst. That person's primarily back-end kind of stuff. So like the event system, room reservations. If you go to the genealogy site and you use the Quick Look or some of their specialty stuff that they have over there, that position takes care of a lot of that. And then a lot of just stat gathering and things like that come from like guest Wi-Fi and those types of services that we have. This person works on the programming for all of that. And these 2 positions can interchange. They have cross training. So if one of them is out for any reason, they can they can take over for the other one. And then we have one other person that is called an online content specialist. This person is responsible for kind of bringing all the stakeholders together that provide content to the website. And they do that quarterly. They bring together people and they make sure their content is updated on the parts of the website like use services or genealogy or story center. They bring all of them together quarterly to see that the content's up to date, what needs to be changed or fixed. And this person does do a lot of content work on the website. Any kind of new little pages we need built or anything like that, they do that. They do
Okay,
that.
can I ask a question about that?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
do they have like a form? So like, let's say the community development department needs to update. Do they fill something out that says, hey, we need this content added, or how does that process work? And then is he meeting with like what, when you say he's meeting with people, who, like what departments is he meeting with specifically?
It's a lot of different departments. So we have like youth services, we have community programming, we have information reader services, we have genealogy, story center, square one, the culinary center now, collection development. There's just a lot of people that position meets with, and he meets with them separately. And they do it on a quarterly basis to make sure that their content's all up to date on their parts of the website. And then what was the other part of your question?
Sorry, I pushed my mute button. I couldn't find it.
That's okay.
So the other thing is, so like what happens, like you're saying that he's meeting with them quarterly, and sometimes a change needs to be made quarterly. Do they just email him? Do we have a form they fill out? Something like that.
They normally just have kind of a working to-do list that they work off of. And if there's something that needs to be updated on the fly, they just drop him an email and let him know, and he makes the change.
Okay. All right.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, I figured that's why I was wondering about quarterly, because you know, when I was, and the reason why I asked is because, you know, sometimes I'm looking on the website and I'm wondering why things aren't there. But if it was like, if they could just ask for the fly, but I understand now better with them just having one person who's kind of doing that, one person that's doing that.
There's a lot of people that contribute to the site. I don't want to say it's just him that's doing all the work. There's a marketing department that puts, you know, special event stuff up on the website. So there's a lot of people that do contribute. But this person gets a lot of those groups together that don't have access to the website that needs their content updated. That's kind of what he does. But there are other people that can make changes to the site.
I see. Okay, that really helps me understand. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And that's primarily what we have for staffing here. And like I said, we have other people that can do minor things to the site. We have the marketing department. We have other folks that can do things to the site. But those are kind of the three people that are responsible for the day-to-day side of the website. So any other questions around staffing or anything? Okay. Cody, I think we can. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Lori.
I don't have any other questions for that. Okay. Thank you.
So, the other thing that we bring it up just in casual conversation, but we don't ever really talk about it, is we don't actually host our website here. It is hosted by a company called Interpersonal Frequency. They are the company that is responsible. They designed and built our current website for us about 5 years ago now, a little over 5 years ago. The site uses Drupal. That's a content management system that's out there. There are many. There's like WordPress and others that you can use to build websites. Ours uses Drupal. And it's basically kind of a software as a service is how we subscribe to that through them. They are responsible for, Interpersonal Frequency is responsible for all of the security updates, software updates, backups, disaster recovery scenario, all of that kind of stuff for the site. They host for a lot of different companies. They are kind of a unique company. They do a lot of public service and local government sites. And then they have a small group of people that primarily focuses on libraries. And so we were real happy to get hooked up with them. They've done a lot of really great work out there in the library land for library websites. And we have a really good working relationship with them. And so they do all the updates, all the security fixes, all those things for us. We don't have to take care of that. We know what's going on, obviously, because those are all scheduled and we have to approve those. So this year we'll be doing a major update to the Drupal system from version 9 to version 10. That's kind of a major undertaking to do that. So the other thing that we have with interpersonal frequency is we have a kind of a support and maintenance contract with them also, and it gives us a set number of hours every month to ask for help with the pay. You know, if we're making a change to the site or we've got a big project we want to work on, we can ask for help, and they have developers that can help us actually do that work or just do the work for us. If we need to, like if we're just like, we just don't have time, but we need to get this done. Culinary Center was a good example of that. We kind of went through some designs with them on how the navigation was going to lay out at the top of the page, and then they did the work and got it up there for us because we had kind of a very defined time frame for getting that done. So they did the work for us. So that's another really great asset, is to have them do that. They know our site forwards and backwards. And if we ever have staff that should leave for some reason, we can call them and they know our site completely, and we can get help. And so, like I said, we have a really, really great working relationship with them, and they've been phenomenal to work with. So we're happy to have them as the people hosting our website. So, and we've had very good uptime with them. We've never had any outages or any attacks or anything like that, knock on wood. But they seem to have all their ducks in a row, and their CEO is very passionate about doing local government and library work and keeping that stuff up to date. So we're pretty happy to be with them. So any questions about that? So we do host a few things here locally, just sub sites and pages and things like that. But the bulk of the website and all of its functionality is out hosted by someone else.
No, I appreciate you explaining that also. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. And we have access to the data. If we need the data, we have access to the servers and all the Drupal content system. If we need to pull the data out and get it for ourselves, we can absolutely do that. That's all part of the contract, is we own the data. I like to make that really clear. It's the same with any of our other hosted services. We have the right to get access to our data. So
I had a quick comment. Part of the part I get, from what I understand, part of the rationale for off-hosting us is that it allows you to operate with a smaller staff and allows for more efficiencies, as well as a lot of backups and security and all the rest.
Yeah, that's partially the reason why. And we can talk about that, kind of our whole structure for our technology. And that is part of the reason why, as it's hosted over here, other things are hosted in other places, and it keeps us from being attacked in one place and everything being down all at the same time. Yes, that's a really good reason. Another reason, when we started building the site, it turned out to be more complicated. And when we started talking to the folks, we call them IF. And when we started talking to the folks at IF, they recommended that we start looking at least putting some stuff on theirs, and because it's actually multiple systems that are running our website, not just one, and it got kind of complicated on us. And it just kind of takes that day-to-day burden. So now we can focus on content and making site improvements and all those types of things, instead of just constantly worrying about keeping the site up and running and keeping it up to date. That was a big reason why we went to the new website, as it needed to be updated for one. But the other reason is that the core software, the Drupal software, was way out of date. And it's because we just did not have the time to maintain the site and also keep everything up to date. And so now we have somebody that does that part for us. So
Another quick question, you used this question from me. The host site also has the capabilities to make sure that our website is accessible.
yes, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. We'll talk about that here in a second. That's more on us than on them, but they do a lot of work on that also. So yeah. Okay, Cody, I think we can skip ahead. Thanks. So the next thing, we'll talk about usability and accessibility. So we do have a usability kind of talks about the look and feel of the site, the navigation, how it's structured, how our customers get to their content. And we do have a group of staff members that as part of their job is to look at that on a regular basis. They meet monthly to go through that. And I will admit, COVID kind of derailed that group a little bit because a lot of their work was based on doing actual like customer focus groups. And so we're going to have a goal this year to really get back to that this year, to have a few customer focus groups to, and they have a whole regimen of things that they take the customer through to try to find content and how to access it. And then we record all of that and we bring it back and we actually look and see how they did in finding the content. And so that's something we really want to get back to this year is that, and we have really great feedback before from folks on how to do that. We actually got really lucky and had a couple of people that did need to use screen readers and things like that from accessibility standpoints. We got some extra feedback from them. So they do meet monthly. And then, like I said, that's something that we're going to get back to this year, kind of post-COVID. And there's another, we'll talk about some survey results that interpersonal frequency does for us. And we'll hit a lot on usability also. But yeah, that's a good group. They're super focused on making sure that people can get to what they want. And they report that back to kind of a website committee that works on where our content lives and how people get to it. And then they also work with interpersonal frequency on just navigation and those types of things. So, yeah.
I was just thinking about like one of the things that you brought to my mind, and I don't know if it's on there, but like at the meeting that we had the other day, somebody had mentioned, like the book clubs and stuff. And I don't even know, because I haven't like searched through every aspect of the website. Do we have like book club questions and like a book of the month that is on there, like that people could read and then kind of like talk about the discussion?
I think it's just primarily part of the events, but I'll have to get a better answer for you than that, Lori. So
yeah, I just wonder. I mean, you when we listen to our people that are speaking from the community, you're like, hey, that's a good idea. I know a lot of books have, book club questions at the end of them. But, our website is.
I know there's not like a place for customers to put like book club questions, I don't think. But yeah, we'll take a look at that.
No, I didn't mean ask questions. I meant like, hey, this is our library, either book of the month and here's some questions or here's 5 books of the month. Because they mentioned that it was something that they're community led, right? That they said that they were community led and that maybe they, didn't have, like, I know we have different topics for each month and so it's just, I just wondered if it was something we have. It's not something that, is like a pressing need or anything. I just wondered if we did have something like that.
Lori, I'm as an active part of book clubs and stuff on the site. I find that they use social media a lot for that. Branch in specific.
I see. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Joycelyn. That's
a
very
good point.
helpful.
I think they meet a lot. They talk a lot through that. So, yeah.
So do we have links then from ours to their, like, hey, this is the Facebook page for, this branch, like that people could find it easily, like to just say, hey, if you want to join a Facebook group, here's one like for the Woodneath or for, Withers or wherever.
We just have a singular Facebook feed now. I don't think we
Okay.
have one for each branch.
Oh, okay.
But that feed is posted on every branch page.
Okay,
Um,
perfect.
So if you get to any of them, you get to that Facebook feed. So it's the same feed.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Cody, I think we can get that. Yeah. So accessibility. See, we're moving, we're moving right along here. So one of the things that pertains to accessibility is there's a international standard out there for website accessibility. It's called WCAG. That's why it's shorthand. It's web content accessibility guidelines. We follow that standard. Our site does conform to that standard. It's like version 2 or 2.1 or something now. There's a version 2, 2, and 3 coming out. And we did send those primary 3 people that we have to training on how to perform accessibility tests on the website. And even Nathan Whitmire, our library systems manager, has been through that also. They meet twice a year to review kind of our guidelines, our standards. That's something that we need to do again. But we have all the screen readers here. We have all the software to test the site and to make sure that it's all meets those accessibility guidelines. It's something we do take pretty seriously. It's kind of a funny story. Right after we launched the site 5 years ago, we got a complaint from the Office of Civil Rights. I remember you were part of that, Joyce Lynn, about the website not being accessible. And it only was like a month old.
Right.
It turned out to be a bogus claim. But we went ahead and did the audit anyway, which was really great. We learned a lot, and really the site was fine. But we actually learned a lot about what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to have policies around that and have some guidelines about how we take care of that and do annual testing. And we've since a couple of years ago called OCR back in again, and we re-audited the site just on our own. We just did it on our own. And so we do take the accessibility part of the website very seriously. And we do know a few customers that actually do use screen readers and do use that technology. And we contact them whenever we want to go through this, and they can hit parts of the website for us. And like I said, we have all of that stuff also in-house here, so we can actually just run it through it. So that's something else that we take pretty seriously is website accessibility. And I'm actually really thankful that the whole OCR thing happened. We like I said, we learned a lot, and it was really great to go through that. And a couple of the people that we've worked with at OCR actually use our website kind of as a site to say this is how it's done and how to take care of it, which is kind of nice. Amongst others, there's other sites out there that are really good at accessibility. We're not the only one, but it's nice to know that they'll point to us sometimes and say, hey, this is a good example of how you do it.
Are there like certifications, like, whenever something is certified green or something, does it have like some type of a certification that we could apply for to like put on the website that says, hey, we are accessibility compliant? Or
that's a good question. I'll find out for you. I know that we have our accessibility policy on the website. BiblioCommons does. We have ours on there, and who to contact with that, but I'll find out and see if there is. So
yeah, because I mean, it's just if we're going above and beyond and we're being used as like an example, I would think that if there is some type of a certification, I would want us to have it displayed.
Yeah, I will find out.
Thank you.
It's a great question. Okay, anything else around accessibility? Okay, Cody? So this is Voice of Patron is a product that Interpersonal Frequency has, and it's on our website. It's basically a little survey that pops up in the lower right-hand corner on random occasions and asks customers for feedback. And Cody, you can go ahead and skip ahead. We do this twice a year with them. They collect all these results from the customers' feedback, and then they put it all together into a presentation for us. And this is just a few slides that I pulled from that to go through. So this is, you can see this is a 6-month period. We had 2,100 responses, which is pretty good. We normally get closer to 3,000. But 2,100 is still pretty good. It's a question I always ask them is like, how do we do compared to other library systems and other people? And actually it's really pretty, it's pretty high. Right now we focused on the core library site, the genealogy center, and the event system for most of the feedback. We'll flip that a little bit to culinary center and some of the other new stuff as we go forward so that we can see how that part of the site is doing. Go ahead, Cody. So this is a little bit smaller on the screen than it is when I was working on it. Okay, so frequency of visit. So people can say how often do they feel like they visit the website. You can see here that I think it's about 43% are daily or weekly. Wow. Which is pretty high. Just pretty high. 65% is monthly or better. So that's really good. That's really high. And then we have quarterly, annually, and first time folks. And first time is actually fairly high at 20%. But we have a lot of daily, weekly folks that come to the website. So yep, go ahead, Cody. So this is an interesting one, and I will try to have like one that goes back maybe a little bit further the next time we look at some stats from the website. But you can see over the last few months, it's trending to more mobile devices. And that's how we were trending before COVID, is we were trending to more and more mobile. And during COVID, we trended back to desktop because people were at home using laptops and desktops more than they were their phones and other devices. And now it's flipping back to mobile again. So I think that's pretty interesting. And it's a pretty big, just for a few months, it's a pretty big flip. It's about a 15% swing to mobile. So something we pay attention to. It's not, it doesn't seem like a shock to me that it's going to mobile. But it's just interesting how it was going mobile and then it went to desktop and then now it's coming back again.
Ryan, I have a question.
Yeah.
So the 2,100 responses, are those unique responses, or are some of those, because since this is for January, February, March, and April, are some of those the same people taking it over and over?
They could take it over and over. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't track like unique, like, hey, this person has done this before.
No, we're not tracking who they are or anything like that. So,
Okay.
So yeah. So I think we can go ahead, Cody. So this is kind of like a look at like success and satisfaction on the website. It's kind of how people. There's a question about, did you find what you're looking for? That's kind of what this is. This is what this is telling us. So you can see average site success about 79%, mobile and tablets about 78%, and then kind of like customer satisfaction numbers, 8.1, 8.5. Again, I asked, how do we rank against other library systems and other folks? And actually, this is about normal for most sites. And when you consider that we have a lot of weekly, daily, and monthly folks, but we also have a lot of first time and annual users, that sort of makes sense because they got to come to the site and they got to figure out how to get to what they're looking for. And so, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's still very high, and even interpersonal frequency will say those are very, very good numbers. So, yeah, Cody. So this is kind of a different look at it, kind of over the months, and you can see it's trending upwards for site satisfaction and site performance and success, which is great to see. So it's just kind of coming back, which is really nice. We have made a few changes to the navigation and a few other things to kind of help with that. And so we'll look at some other things that we're going to have to look at. But yeah, it's definitely trending up over the quarter. So I'm happy to see that. Go ahead, Cody. This is a good one. So this is kind of purpose of visit. So you can see the big one is it's called Browse Branch. That's actually people looking for physical books. And then we've got a bunch of ties. We've got services, research, and events, and all kind of the same. And then we have Browse Digital, so people looking for digital materials. Then we have kind of everything else, kind of location, help, contact, employment, and everything else. So,
Question, where would our meeting room services fall? Would that be under services or location?
it'd be under services, yeah. It'd be under services. Yep. Yeah, anybody looking for questions about hotspots, meeting rooms, any of that kind of stuff all fall under services on the website. Yeah.
What that tells me is that services are a core part of what people turn to libraries
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
as opposed to just rating. They're looking
Yeah.
for
Yep.
or help with something.
Especially now, we have meeting rooms and we have
Yeah.
collab spaces and we have hotspots they can check out and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, passports, notary.
Passport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to make an appointment.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things in services now. So yeah, absolutely.
That was going to be my question. So services such as checking out devices like the hotspots or the laptops and stuff that deal with us, that would still fall under services as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it would. It would.
Okay.
And those services are listed at the bottom of the pages, which make it real convenient. You don't have to scroll and find it. There's a whole column for services that
Yeah.
make it easy to access.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So go ahead, Cody. So this last one, again, pretty small. Looks much bigger when you're putting it together on a PC screen. This is like a Gartner Magic Quadrant kind of thing where things fall out based on the satisfaction. So actually, we're in really great shape. Most of the major things are, if you're in the upper right-hand corner, that means it's pretty successful. If it's in the lower left corner, that means it's something you should look at or maybe work on. And the big thing that's down there is research. And we've got some ideas about that one that we've been talking with interpersonal frequency about. And it's primarily due to the fact that we have a whole bunch of search boxes on the page, and we're not for sure people really know how to get started.
Or even how to do a search or
Yeah,
search
yeah.
or
So-
how to narrow.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got some work to do there.
The other thing might be too, just with part of, because I do a lot of research on there because grant writing stuff, it's wonderful that we have all our databases, but it's very difficult to search multiple at a time.
Yeah, we have a service called EBSCO EDS. And it works okay. I don't think that's the start your research box, and that's the third search box down. And technically our primary search box is supposed to do that. Like if you do the search there and you go to research, but unfortunately it doesn't do all of the research databases. It only does EBSCO ones and a few other ones. It doesn't do ProQuest and it doesn't do the other ones. So then you have to go back and start your search over and try to figure out which database you're supposed to use. That's always been a little bit of the frustration factor with the research databases. It's a difficult one for libraries to tackle, and especially for ours, considering how many we actually have.
Yeah.
So yeah.
By the way, I think it's wonderful that we have them.
Yeah, and we
Very
try
close.
to tag all those. Those are all tagged in the Drupal content system. So if people just are trying to search for something general, it'll bring the research database up, and then they got to recreate their search in there. But at least they can see, hey, this is a resource I can use to actually go find something. But there's only so many ways that we can think to tag something. So yeah, the research is always kind of a struggle. The research databases are always a little bit of a struggle. I think we did really well with calling them research and learning.
Yes.
And getting people there. I think it's when people get there is when they struggle with it more. We used to call it online resources. Nobody knew what that meant. So getting it changed, I think helped us a lot in that. But now I think we're starting to see when people get there, they need some help.
I think it's important with youth with our students having to do research.
Mm-hmm.
It's very helpful to avoid them like doing a Google search.
Yeah.
They can actually do actual research.
Yeah. These are all vetted sources of information. So yeah, absolutely. And I know the schools, we do have some school districts that are really into using them and getting the kids. So we're working with them a lot. But yeah, we would like to try and work on that more.
So I have one thing that does concern me. I mean, it's a pretty big red flag on that lower success that we have contact information and help as being like help is our very lowest of there. So do we like on the website someplace, do we have like a email address where they could send an email to like help@mcpl.org, or do they have a phone number? Like I'm just like what kind of contact are they like? I would think that we would have branch phone numbers and stuff listed on the content. Does it say where they were when they said that?
We do. On all the location pages, it has the branch phone number.
I'm just
their
really
address.
I love so curious as why they would put those two things as like a lowest.
That one. I'm gonna have to get some more info from interpersonal frequency on that one. At the bottom of every page, we have was this page helpful? We have the talk to us. The talk to us is the kind of the customer feedback. BiblioCommons has that in the catalog also. You can just do help anytime. So that one's we're a little stumped on that one also. So I'm gonna need to get some more info.
Do we have any way of looking at what time of day people are accessing the research database? Because it may be they're trying to access it when no one's available and they're really lost.
We should be able to do that.
I don't want to make more trouble, but I'm in terms of trying to get our handle around this. It may be that they've got a paper due at midnight and they're trying to do it at 9 p.m.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we should be able to do that. Because that's all collected through the authentication system. Now, some of them, once you create your own account, like LinkedIn Learning and things like that, you just can go direct to them and not have to come because you have an account, a library account. So we're not going to be able to really know those. But some of the core research databases, we could probably find out. They're still coming through us. Yeah. That's a good question. So we just never.
Well, because, I'd be, if I'm in a rush to get something and I go to the library and it's 9 p.m., oh yeah, great, I can't call somebody. That could be a source of frustration.
Yep.
Not that we can fix it, but it would help us to understand where that 60% is coming from.
Okay.
So Brian, I'm gonna ask a question, and I'm not intending to open a can of worms. I just want to know your thoughts and what you've thought about it for the future. So, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what Jocelyn is saying, is having have we talked with our vendor about any type of like chat bots or doing anything that would use AI to kind of help people find what they're looking at?
That conversation, we've talked about that several times because there are other library systems that do have online chat. And And it's something that we just never got to. It's something we can certainly circle back to and talk about.
Are there chats though, live people? So there's different, I mean, of course I work
Yeah.
for an AI company,
Yeah.
so it's like what I do every single day, right? And so, Microsoft having the Chat GPT-4 is kind of the latest and greatest, and a lot of places are using that, to help people find information, because the AI will search through like the website, or search through the research, or search through some of these things and find it. Like we use it like at my company for patent lawyers to find if there's a patent out there, how do you look through so much data so quickly? So I'm just curious if we've, been approached by anybody, if we've talked it, it's just something that, and not for now, but for later, I do think that that's kind of the way things will probably end up going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We haven't been approached about any kind of usage of AI or anything like that to do anything. But like I said, there are online chat for getting people to help, through the website. And we have one that does that, and that's tutor.com. I mean, they obviously have that. But yeah.
There's a live person on the very end. Yeah.
Yeah. But there are library systems that do that. They do, but they don't do it like 24/7 either. I don't think. Most of them just do it during like normal library hours. But yeah, it's definitely something worth looking at. I mean, I would do anything to be able to congeal the research searches into one one thing. But unfortunately, we have, umpteen vendors that want their stuff to be proprietary and don't want to share. And so EBSCO is pretty cool to do their EDS, their unified search. It's not perfect, but it does get the job done for the most part. But it only hits about a third of the half of our research databases. So
yeah, it would almost take a search engine that was able to separately search all of the different congealed databases. Then you can choose which ones you want to use.
Yeah.
And that's a massive undertaking.
Which there are library systems that have talked about it. I know that interpersonal frequency, I think it was Houston. I can't remember. It was a Texas library system they did. They built their whole online catalog for them also.
Wow.
And they were talking about doing a giant search engine for all their research databases, but just getting it all together was just way too huge. And they just couldn't do it. That was going to be almost a multi-year project unto itself besides the website.
This is just an idea, but I'm wondering, is there a way, or I guess the question is, are the databases targeted in different areas? Like information, like if I'm looking for health information, this database would be good. If you're looking for architectural research, this would be good. So that we can steer them at the beginning to the databases.
We do have subject guides kind of up there now, and that's sort of what we're trying to do.
People are using that.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Like we have like arts and culture, automotive, biographies. We definitely try to do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And whether or not people are using it is
yes. Yeah. Okay. Any other
Brian,
questions around that? Yeah, go ahead.
Brian, I just want to say thank you for putting this together to help me see the bigger picture. I know that it was, it's just nice to have. And I think for our board, it really will help. I don't know, because the technology is such a vital part of any library system and kind of what we're doing. And I think it's just a key component. And I'm just so grateful for the work that your team and the group that is working on our website, working with our vendors. And I'm just grateful. Thank you for putting this together. And tomorrow night for the meeting, I think I would like you, Cody, if you could go back a couple slides. I think I may want you to share. I think it was 3 slides back, actually. It's the one with the circles that just kind of says like that one. Maybe you should share all 4 of those if you can, Brian. Just those last 4 slides that just kind of talks about the performance of our website. I mean, you went to work putting them together, and it doesn't take long. I just think it lets our board show kind of what we are, how we're like our presence. So if you wouldn't mind sharing those 4 slides again tomorrow.
Okay.
I think those are,
Yeah.
this one, I think just from a discussion perspective, I think maybe we should not put this one in, just because I know everybody's going to ask the same questions again that we asked, hey, why is this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I think we don't know the answers enough to that. And so unless you just want to say, hey, I'm putting these answers together, just out of the
No, it's
respect.
fine. I think just focusing on the usage of the site would be good. So
I appreciate
that's
that.
fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. That's easy. So
Good information.
Yeah,
and then go ahead. One more, Cody. Thank you. And I'm very lucky to have the staff that I have. I have a great staff, and they take this stuff very seriously, and they want the site to work and be usable for people. And so I'm super fortunate to have the staff I have. So I'll dump all the praise on them. They're doing the work every day. So I'm super happy with how things are going there. So just a few things that we got done. It doesn't look like a lot, and I'll preference it by saying we had a lot of side projects this year. We flipped the passport notary booking stuff over to a new system. We had to create a facilities help desk or ticket system. We had a lot of little stuff that we did this year on the side. But this year we did add the culinary center to the top navigation. That was a little bit of an overhaul to the top of the page. We finally added support to put new background images on the page, which was nice. So we do change kind of the background of the website to kind of fit what we have going on, which is really cool. We added a Spanish language information button on the main page now, which actually gets used a lot and has really helped drive a lot of customers to that page, to the Spanish language information page, which is really great. And then on the main page, there's kind of like a little features tab. It has like our featured programs and featured material and things like that. We kind of overhauled that page a little bit this year to kind of bring some stuff up to the top. Yeah, that's kind of the stuff we did on the website. Like I said, we had a lot of just side things going this year, clean up stuff that we got done this year. So, yeah.
The Spanish language button is really cool. I'd love to see the stat on how many times that's been used. When did it go live?
It's been a while. It's been most of the year. I'll see if I can find out for you on that. We did just put on it's called a heat map. From a company called Crazy Egg, and it shows where people are clicking and where they're moving around on the main page. And that button does get used a lot. So, yeah.
That's really great.
I think that's all I have. So.
All right. Well, do we have any visitor comments?
Do you have anything, Aaron's dad?
Impressed, that's what I have to say. A lot of work been done.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Then do we have any other business? All right. Then do we need an emotion to adjourn?
So I move to adjourn.
And I will second it. So